$100,000 Corvette.
Hello! I stole his camera. He was chasing me. Andy! Andy! Let's start the video. Seriously, he doesn't even work. He just texts hoes all day.
Dude,
all freaking day.
I'm not that popular, man. I'm not a popular
Andy.
guy. Listen, I'm not a popular guy with the women.
Oh yeah, that's me. So what are we doing?
I don't know. What are we doing?
I don't know. Shit.
So, I guess people have been asking lately to do a little video on a header install on a 5th Gen Camaro ZL1. So what do you think? You want to show them a video?
Yeah, let's do it.
Alright. Give me the camera. Get to work.
Sponsored by Welch's.
We're not sponsored by Welch's, and we had to pay for that. Alright, as you guys can see, where's my flashlight at here? As you guys can see, we have a little bit of stuff going on in this ZL1 Camaro here. Now, this is getting more than just headers, obviously. This is getting a full cam swap, methanol injection kit, dual valve springs, hardened push rods, thermal reduction plates, 231 upper pulley, and obviously the long tube headers with the off-road connection pipes. I know I've done a lot of videos showing the speed up process of us doing, you know, the blower install and the header install and stuff like that nature. But there hasn't been a lot of videos actually showing each individual process of the build on one of these ZL1s that we worked on. And I figured, you know, it wouldn't be a bad idea to make a little series of videos on some of the ZL1s that are coming in. Maybe we'll do a few on this ZL1 and maybe a few videos on another ZL1 that we have sitting outside for a build of individual installations. So basically, you know, this video is going to be about basically just putting on a set of headers. It's not that difficult, not a very long job, not a very hard job. Anybody can do it with a pair of jack stands. Obviously, we have a lift here, so it's a little bit easier for us. But don't let the rest of this motor being torn apart distract you from the fact of what we are actually accomplishing here in this particular video. So the first thing we're going to do is to make things easier for you guys. I know the valve covers are off and the rockers are off, but don't pay attention to that. There's coil packs on top of the valve covers here. If you take those coil packs off and take the valve covers off, it will make it a little bit easier for you to get down to these bolts to take them out. So the very, very first step that you're going to want to do a set of long tube headers on a ZL1 or a 5th Gen Camaro is you want to take this dipstick tube out. This oh, here we go. We have an example
right here.
So here's a coil pack, here's a valve cover. Obviously, you see how much bigger that is. So if you take that out of the way after you disconnect your spark plug wires and everything, if you take that out of the way, it makes things a lot easier to get to, and you see how you can actually physically see how much room we have going on here to be able to get down to the bolts. So like I was saying before, you know, we showed you a little example there, is the dipstick tube is the first thing to come out. Now, just so you guys know, in order to get the dipstick tube out, there is I'll put the flashlight down here, a 15mm bolt down there that needs to come out first. So we're going to go ahead and take that bolt out right now. Go ahead and take that bolt out. And you're going to put that bolt aside. Do not lose that bolt because you're going to need it. And then the next thing you do is you literally just wiggle this around a little bit and it will come out. Might be a little tight, but it will come out. Make sure when you do put this back together that you lube the hell out of this O-ring right here, because you're definitely going to need to.
Yes.
All right, if you guys look way down here, these LS3s have a connection pipe, obviously, right there. We've already disconnected it. There's two 15mm nuts on that connection pipe. The nice thing about what they've done with these 5th Gen Camaros is those 15mm nuts point up. So you can literally get an extension down in here. For example, you can set yourself up with something like this on an electric gun or an air gun. You can put a swivel on the end of it, 15mm swivel. You can reach down there on both sides of the vehicle, and you can go ahead and get those 15s, and they usually will come out. My first recommendation is I would spray those nuts down before you even get started on anything else. Get some PB Blaster and spray those nuts down, lube them up a little bit. That way they're a lot easier to come off and they don't really break on you or anything. So go ahead and do that first before you start taking the valve covers off and the coil packs and all that stuff. It's going to make it just a little bit easier for you to get them bolts out in general in the next half hour when you get to that point. On both sides, you're going to want to take your spark plugs out, which you've already gotten out. So there's 4 on each side, so make sure you get all your spark plugs out. If you don't take your spark plugs out, what's going to end up happening is when you disconnect this header, you're going to hit the spark plug, you're possibly going to break the spark plug. Even though we replaced the spark plugs here with new spark plugs, you definitely don't want to snap a spark plug off by accident. These bolts right here are 1/2-inch bolts. So we're going to slowly disconnect all these. I recommend leaving 1 bolt in to hold the manifold in place until you get all of them out. Alright guys, we're on the last bolt. As you can see for this side, we got this side pretty much all disconnected except for 1 bolt just kind of hanging the header there. We're getting ready to loosen this last bolt up on this one right here. And this header should be out in a matter of a few seconds.
Oh yeah.
What's taking so long?
I don't know.
Alright guys, I will tell you one thing. You do want to keep these gaskets here. Do not get rid of these gaskets. The stock triple layer exhaust gaskets are very, very nice from GM. You you want to use them over again. You don't want to not use them and stuff. But here we have 1 header.
What's nice is right out the top too.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing, guys. As you can see, it literally comes right out of the top. There's plenty of room up here to get these headers out. Here's our other gasket. We'll be using these over again, just like I said. And obviously that one comes right out through the top, just like so, in order to fit the driver's side header in place. The passenger side...
Sorry.
The passenger side header will go in just fine without any removal of anything other than what we've stated before. But this driver's side, that steering knuckle and that shaft needs to get moved out of the way. Go ahead, boss. Look down here. You have your steering knuckle right there. There's an 11mm bolt that needs to come out, and that steering knuckle needs to come off as well. Basically, that bolt just comes out, and then you just maneuver that shaft. Hold on a minute, let me... Just
maneuvering shafts.
Maneuver that shaft up out of there.
Just like that.
And then up and out of the way she goes.
That's all you need.
So now at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to take everything out of here that we don't need, like our little PV blaster, get that out of the hood. Close our hood down because unfortunately my roof is too low. We can't have the hood open or we put vehicles up in the air, which is totally fine. So what we'll do is we'll close this hood down a little bit. As you can see, we have our cats here. And obviously this is nice and loose now. Now don't forget, what you're going to want to do is you're definitely going to want to disconnect your O2 sensors up here and your rear O2 sensors. So you definitely don't want to forget to unplug those. And then what you're going to do is you're going to spray down these. Did we spray these down already?
Yeah.
Spray these nuts down right here because these are your connection pipes. We'll be using the rest of the exhaust. Here, I'll do that. Nothing better than some PV blaster to try to loosen up some nuts. These things ain't really tight all the time, but they do get rusty. They are underneath the vehicle, so you definitely want to make sure that you get them lubed up properly. That way they don't break on you. Now we've got our O2 sensors all unplugged, and do not forget that these triangle looking ones, they're the fronts, okay? They're not the rears, they're the fronts. We will be using these over again. We will not be using these over again, the square ones. So you guys can take them out, disregard them. Same with this side. We'll have the, obviously have the triangle ones on the front of the exhaust and the square ones on the back, which we do not use. So these are 15mm, and we'll be zipping them out right now. Now these literally just slide right off of the exhaust system. As you can see, they're very, very simple. not really a big challenge to take these out. We'll go ahead and get this on here. This one's going to come out just as easy. So as you can see, we are using, obviously we like to use our Kooks headers here. They treat us very well. Very good company and make a very, very, very high quality header. Let's pull these suckers out, take a look at them. Man, that is a beautiful header right there. I'll tell you what, guys. Very, very nice header. We got an O2 bung here. I love their new style clamps that they're using. Very, very nice. Get the other one out here. And then in this box, we have our connection pipes.
Geez, you have these wrapped up.
There we go. That's one connection pipe, and then in the box is the other connection pipe. Now, I will tell you guys, just so you know, for legality purposes, the connection pipes on this particular car are going to be off-road, so that means that these connection pipes can only be used for off-road drag racing or off-road autocross racing or some of that nature. These are not street legal pipes, so if you do plan on running this type of a setup on the street, I highly recommend going with a high-flow cat, unless you obviously are going to be using the pipes for drag racing or autocross or something of that nature, then in that case you are perfectly legal to be able to use a non-catted connection pipe. Kooks does supply you with nice Super 8 locking fastener stainless steel bolts, and we also have O2 connectors for the front. As you can see, they are triangle style. These extend the stock O2 sensors because the long tube headers actually are obviously longer than the stock exhaust headers that were on there before, and you know, you need these to kind of stretch them out, stretch the extensions of the O2s out a little bit to make them work. What do you say, Max? You want to stick some Kooks headers in?
I'll slide them in there.
Now that that steering shaft's out of the way, these things go up pretty easy.
And that's all right there.
Alrighty. If you're doing this by yourself, one of the things we do is we have a little bungee cord here, and when we put the headers up inside, sometimes they don't stay up there and they want to fall down when you're, you know,
they're all
yeah,
loose.
they just move around. So in order to kind of hold the headers kind of up in place, we use this bungee cord and we just strap it across underneath the headers, and that keeps them in place. That way, if you're doing it by yourself, you don't need a second hand to hold headers while you're putting bolts in or anything. Now it's time to go up top, and we'll stick some bolts in these things.
All right, guys. So, are you time-lapsing?
No, go ahead, man.
So the Kooks bolts are actually 7/16.
Okay.
Not half-inch. So.
Well, tell them what we're doing here. Tell them now that we're back up top here.
We're up top now.
Alrighty.
So you want to reuse the gasket.
Yep, we reuse the stock LS3 gaskets. They're very, very good. There's no point in trying to switch them out for the Kooks gaskets. And then basically what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to put our bolts in. And you can literally bolt these headers completely up, torque them down to spec, whatever you want to do. And then at that point, we'll go back underneath and we'll put our connection pipes in. Now that we got the headers all bolted up on both sides, basically what we definitely don't want to forget to do is we need to put that steering linkage back together. So it's pretty easy to do. So we'll go ahead and slide that sucker right on there. You definitely don't want the steering wheel or the rack to turn while it is disconnected, in fear of you might mess up the clock spring inside the steering wheel. So when you do disconnect this, you definitely don't want that steering wheel to turn, and you don't want to move the wheels around at all. Just kind of leave everything kind of the way it is, and you should be okay. The last thing we need to do is install our off-road pipes. So we'll get the car up in the air now. Obviously, we don't want to forget to take our little strap off here that was holding our headers up. Definitely want to get that out of the way. As you can see, everything's really nice looking down here. We got it all bolted up. All that's left is our off-road connection pipes that's going to then connect up to the stock catback setup on this particular vehicle. One thing that kind of helps with this a little bit is if you do loosen up this little bracket back here, just take 2 bolts out of that side, loosen this side up here. It does make it a little bit easier to get this down and to get these pipes on. Now don't forget guys, these do need to be torqued down, so we're just going to lightly hammer down on them a little bit just to kind of keep them still. That way it doesn't fall down or anything while we're working on some of the other things. Alrighty, just for now. Now that all that is torqued down properly, basically all you got to do is put your rear O2 sensors in, put your front O2 sensors in, go ahead and use your extensions to tie them into the wiring harness up in the engine bay. And then once that's all done, pretty simple stuff guys. You put it back down on the ground, you go ahead, you put your spark plugs back in, stick your spark plug wires on your coil packs, your valve covers, you know, all the other stuff that you plan on doing to the vehicle. If you're doing a cam swap, you can pretty much move on to doing the cam swap or any other mods that you're planning on doing to the car. But that's pretty simple guys. It's a pretty simple install. Kooks does a real good job with making headers that are going to fit properly. As you guys can see, it does fit up there, you know, very, very good. And obviously, you know, I'm not doing this as a promotional thing for Kooks. I'm just letting you guys know I am a dealer for Kooks. They do make a good product, and I use their product because of the fact that they do make a good product. And I enjoy using stuff that makes my job not only easier, but it also makes Max's job easier. Yeah. When you think about it, guys, you know, using a set of good quality headers on a 5th gen Camaro or a Mustang or a truck or anything for that nature does make the job a lot quicker for you to do and a lot easier. Like I said, it does make the job easier, and it actually makes the job go a whole lot faster. Compared to like a cheaper set of like eBay headers that are going to have clearance issues, not going to fit perfectly straight on, you know, warped flanges, stuff of that nature, which I have ran into before in the past. We're pretty much going to end this video on that note. If you guys liked it, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're going to start doing a little bit more tutoring, I guess you would say, videos. Tutorial videos on the ZL1s and the C7s on specific aspects of each car, not just an entire one build in one video. We'll do little things here and little things there. Maybe we'll do a video on how to torque down heads, you know, stuff like that, you know, to try to help people out on working on their own vehicles. So like usual, you know, don't forget to subscribe like I was saying. Don't forget I am on Instagram at Diablo Formula Racing, Facebook, Diablo Formula Racing. If you want to see some of the fun stuff that goes on here on a daily, I do have a Snapchat, and it is Diablo Formula. All the information is always in the description of every single one of my videos, so if you guys don't catch any of that, go click that description button down there and take a look. Other than that, guys, we're going to get out of here, and peace out, Girl Scout. Deuces.
Traces.